What's up, guys? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. We got Randy's car back in the shop. We're just going to work on this. It's already dark. Midweek thrash session. So he got the seal. He ended up getting it from Summit. They had two different ones. And so it looks like we've got the right one. We're fixing to take it out of the package and make sure we put it on. Now, somebody mentioned in the last video that the seals, those seals needed to be dry because they're Teflon. And that's actually written on the package as well. So that is correct. So whoever said that in the comments, I appreciate you pointing it out and making it so that we understand that, because it's one of those things. It's one of the things we don't do a ton. And I don't remember if I put it on dry last time or not, honestly, when we put it together. So that could have been the issue. All right, guys, comment, like, and subscribe. Go to turbojohnracing.com, grab yourself some merchandise. All right, Randy's also got some lights in there. Our buddy Chris Moore installed some lights. So we ain't racing in the dark this year, at least not in the trailer. Now all you need to do is get some of those lights like Brian put on. Did you see those that he put on the outside of his trailer? They're Mac Daddy LEDs. If I park beside Brian, I don't need any lights outside. I can just use his. They are very bright. So he got two seals. This one was the one, he just went ahead and got both of them. This is the one that we do not need. This is the, that's the one that we had, that Kevin had. And this is the little one that we have. And you see, that's the 37200. And right there it says no oil. When you look at this, we got to clean this. This thing actually doesn't look bad. I mean, you can see where it's rubbed the anodized off of it. But I mean, overall, I mean, that is okay. It's nice and smooth. So we got to clean that. This is the seal. We pulled it out, and you know, we don't see anything physically broke on it. We're gonna, this does look like the right one from what I can tell. So let's take it out real fast, and then we'll measure it up and make sure it's right, and then we're gonna stick this thing on. All right, guys, so this does look like the correct seal. It is the exact right size, and something that, like this seal right here, this is the one we just pulled out. See, if you pull that, how it stays kind of distorted. This one, they say you got to keep this thing absolutely oil free, but it springs back a lot harder. So for sure, and you can see it also is like it's more conical, whereas this one is just wore out. The seal's just wore out. It's not conical at all from where it's been flat. So, okay, so we just got to stick that in, clean this real good, and we're on the way to put this thing back together. All right, guys, so this is not been too bad. We've been working on it for a little while. It's kind of a pain in the butt to get the lower the lower crank pulley on, but we got everything up. This thing is super easy. This is Devin likes he doesn't like he's not a fan of the 36 minus 1 wheel. So he's got this 12 wheel, 12 minus 1. You see they've got magnets, except for that one right there, there's no magnet in it. And so that's the way he prefers to do it. He said the resolution at high RPM with the 36-1 sometimes gives issues. I haven't had any issues with mine that I know of, but I don't know. Maybe I was having issues and don't know it. So they got the front end painted. This stuff turned out pretty nice, so that looks good. We're almost got everything back together now. Randy's over there cleaning the pipes. We did have a little bit of oil. There's a check valve, a residual pressure check valve that he's got on the turbo, but it's supposed to stop oil pressure. And so what happens is this thing is gravity drained, right? And so the turbo sits right here, and it's below the oil tank. And so if you don't have that check valve on the turbo, the pressure of this, it gravity feeds through the pump, and it does end up actually, you know, going back to the turbo. So the check valve just There's a little spring in it, and it keeps it so that it's not supposed to flood the downpipe with oil. I don't know if y'all remember when we first put the 118 on it, we didn't have a check valve on it, and that was a problem. He was having to actually take the line off and put it up every pass. I don't know, maybe the spring, we didn't run it long, maybe the spring got stuck, or maybe the check valve is not working like it should, or maybe we need to put the check valve in a different location. I mean, it's right there on the turbo, so I think it would be fine. The way Devin done this wiring, man, this is slick. It almost looks like the car is not wired at all. I mean, it looks like there are no wires. I mean, they look good. You see he's got everything labeled with what it is. Nice, does shrink wrap, pulls it nice and tight, and just makes all the wires so they are the perfect length. So that makes it real easy to connect. So, you know, super simple. Everything's pretty easy. So we're gonna slide this thing on real fast and hopefully get this thing cranked in just a few minutes. Okay, we're getting closer. That turbo is freaking, that's a 118 Gen 2 Precision. It's pretty gangster. So that thing is coming on. All right, check valve is working. So he said that's working good, so check that. Well, why else would it have put oil all in the turbo if the check valve? I guess it still had enough pressure to keep the valve open. That's the only way that would have happened. I don't know. Okay, so we are making some good progress. Everything is back on. You can see this thing is really close to the ground. We got to raise the ride height up a little bit. So we're fixing to crank it up and see if we got any oil leaks. Hopefully it's going to be fine and we're not going to have any issues, and it's going to be sealed up. So we're hoping. You know, it's one of those things we won't know until we fire it here in a second. Just try to loosen it, but we can't do that. Wait. right, guys. Well, it cranks up and it runs. So that's a good thing. All the smoke, it's a little smoky in here. I don't know if you can see it really on the camera or not, but since there was oil in the turbo, that's just burning it out of the turbine housing. It just always, oil gets trapped up in there. So it's kind of weird the way, we don't know if this is, what's the deal with the oil. The oil drained completely out of this. You see it's nice and milky. It's a little rich from where it's idling. We can lean it up a little bit, but the thing is when you got a solid head and a solid block, the fuel is actually what helps cool the stuff down. The heads are warm, but right now the intake is like ice cold. And so, you know, it's one of those things though, but it kind of destroys the oil, and so you have to change the oil more frequently. So, you know, that's one of the things that, you know, just is a problem sometimes. And so, but it seems like everything is good. I don't think we've got any real issues. The only thing we got is this oil pump belt is a little tight. So we still got a few things to do. We got to bleed the brakes. Randy's got to do the fire system. He's got to do the CO2 lines. But it looks like we're not leaking. So not leaking is a good thing. So that's what we were, you know, hoping we could fix. Of course, everything, it did fire right up. Devin, once the fuel system got primed, that thing is spun over and fired right off. No issues at all. He's told me how to do mine, but mine just don't make any fuel pressure, you know, when it's cranking up. So that's where I think mine struggles the most. But I think we're almost ready. So he's gonna mess with it a little bit this weekend, and then hopefully next weekend will be at No Prep Kings. But depending on how it goes, maybe next Thursday night we can maybe test this thing. That would be a good game plan. All right, guys, comment, like, and subscribe. Go to turbojohnracing.com, grab some merchandise. Appreciate it, guys. Later.